is called with the calendar. First up is Brian Sullivan, President of Nassau Coven.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you giving me a couple of seconds here to speak. First, I'd like to offer another quick round of applause for the top cops that were here earlier. We're law enforcement. We support all of them. Pardon my granny glasses. I'm also up here because a few things. I was up here last time a few weeks ago, and I spoke to you about problems we had with the arraignment court system and about the criminal justice system in Nassau County letting people go. That we have a major problem with that. I seem to start a pretty interesting conversation here last time, and I'll be following up on that a lot more as time goes by, starting after what I'm about to talk about quick. Since then, when I was here last time, I've been dealing with a myriad of problems at the correctional facility, centered around security issues or lack thereof, including security breaches that are going on at the jail that definitely affect the safety and security of the facility. My board and I have met with the sheriff on many, many occasions in labor management meetings, had several conversations, official, unofficial, whatever you want to call them, to try and rectify a lot of these problems that are going on. We have a lot of handshake agreements regarding many issues, post coverages, trying to obtain the necessary tools to do the job, metal detection equipment, regular equipment, vehicles, everything else, as well as a problem with conducting searches in the facility for contraband, all of which I can't seem to get the sheriff to ever implement. We have a lot of conversations about all of this stuff, but it seems like it's all just conversations. There's nothing but conversations. Over the past few weeks, I've had to file several charges in PERB, the Public Employee Relations Board, as well as individual class action grievances against the county and the sheriff for failing to address these issues that we're constantly bringing up over and over again. The jail's in terrible shape, both security-wise, morale-wise for my people. Now we seem to be incorporating this national trend, statewide trend of this hug-a-thug policy, where we're taking away segregation of inmates that cause major disturbances, that are causing fights, that are generally disruptive. We have new orders out about you hear all the stuff that's going on in New York City. Obviously, there's no abuses or anything alleged. It's just you're taking tools away of inmates that can seriously cause damage in the jail. We're going to keep them out. That's one of the policies that, unfortunately, I have to deal with. That being said, with this myriad of things that I'm dealing with, and I seem to be talking to myself about it, tomorrow I'm going to be holding a rally outside the gates of the correctional facility, tomorrow morning, to bring attention to these issues and to show support for my workforce that seems to be under a constant barrage of neglect and abuse from an administration that just doesn't seem to care what's going on inside that facility. I come here today because I want to cordially invite each one of you, if you're able. I know a lot of you have regular day jobs, not that this isn't a regular day job, but there's lawyers and everything else. I cordially invite you to attend this rally in support of our county correction officers who come to work every day, day after day, week after week, under extremely trying conditions. We are also law enforcement officers. We have a trend out there that we need to support our law enforcement officers. We need to, like Pete Patterson spoke before very eloquently about the sentiment that's going on in the world. There is a lot of sentiment. We support our police. Everybody should support our police. But a lot of times people forget that we need to support other aspects of law enforcement also. My correction officers are sworn peace officers in the state of New York. They are sworn to protect the peace. They're sworn to protect everybody in this county. We're not shown an iota of respect. And it seems to be across the board in all of the corrections departments, because I'm hoping to have support of other counties that are going to be there tomorrow. We all seem to be under the same umbrella. But my ultimate goal is to turn this place around. I want to enhance the security of the jail, stop the nonsense that seems to permeate our profession, all while the rest of the civilized world revolves around law enforcement. So I'm not going to sit here like Khrushchev and bang my foot on the podium today. That's maybe next meeting. But I want to invite you all to come down, support us, show our correction officers that you support us. If you can, If you can, I understand that there's obligations, it's last minute notice, but for you guys, but I wanted to get out here in public, get you all in one room, and hopefully you'll come down. It's, I'm going to be mustering my guys together about 10 o'clock. I plan on kicking it off at 11 o'clock at the front gate of the correctional facility. Parking is down the block. They may let you guys park on the property. They're not letting my guys park on the property. But we have to find alternate things, but I'm sure you guys will get taken care of it. I'd love to have you down. A lot of issues we got to deal with, and we just seem to be banging our head against the wall, and quite frankly, tired of it.
Legislator Negro.
Sorry, that's important.
Ryan, thank you very much for coming down here and addressing this and letting us know about the situation over at the jail. And as you know, that this is a big concern. I mean, you know, we do focus on the police that patrol our streets, but you know, I know that you guys and women, you know, have an equally dangerous job. You know, because you are confined with a lot of people that are committing crimes. You know, so
Where do they go? Where do they end up?
Yeah, that's exactly where they end up. And I know that there's a lot of, you know, problems and the dangers that you face on a daily basis. Unfortunately, I don't know, I'm going to try to make your rally tomorrow, but please, I will be in touch with you and keep me informed, because I do want to show my support, and I want to, and maybe through showing support, you know, we finally get some focus on the working conditions there and start making some changes, so that you don't have to come back and bang you should run your desk while you're okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Palillo. Good afternoon, Mr. Sullivan. How are you doing?
Sir, I'll wait.
Great, thank you. I also would like to underscore the statements you made before. Your police officers have a fundamentally dangerous job. Every stop and search of a vehicle or person is by far one of the most dangerous experiences that anyone can engage in. But also, your correctional officers put themselves in just as much danger in checking in on inmates at the local jail. So again, I recognize the difficulty that you face and support you wholeheartedly. You mentioned before that there were a number of handshake agreements or statements that have gone nowhere, and that has also been my experience with this administration. And I suggest that you please memorialize some of these conversations that you've had with the sheriff and create a paper trail. Because I'm also interested in these issues, and I would like to see a paper trail of some of these important issues, and also would like to push them because I, again, understand the difficulty that you're facing, and we as a caucus would like to also support you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you for your time. Hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Mayor Bruce Kennedy. I'm not sure, Mayor, if you want to speak now or you want to wait till the garbage one item is called. It's up to you.
Can I get 2 shots at this? Because I have another item. I have 2 items that I listed on that. So I just wanted to bring up the issue I had discussed in my last appearance. First, thank you for the opportunity to address the legislature. I was here last month regarding trying to seek a resolution to the issue as it relates to the Glencoe, the Seacliff Avenue Sewer project. One question that I asked last month was if I'm aware that there's a 40-year capital plan, which $198 million is slated for sewer projects throughout the county. Of that 198 million, 196 is encumbered, which means 2 million is not encumbered. I asked the legislature if it was possible to break that $2 million away, being that money wouldn't have to be bonded for, and put it towards this project. So I'm just wondering if there was any progress on that solution. And secondarily, you know, this project is very important to the village. It's important to all of Hempstead Harbor. So I was trying to figure out another way of getting this thing done, where both sides of the aisle could work together. And the last, when I did phase 1 of this project, the county was providing financial assistance, and we did it through an IMA, a municipal agreement. So there was no procurement by the county. And I know the biggest issue right now between the 2 sides is the procurement process. So if in fact this $4 million that was approved in the county capital plan could be granted through an intermunicipal agreement. It would require no procurement. The village has already done all the engineering studies. Our bid documents are virtually ready to be done, and we would do all the bidding and award the bid ourselves. So if the legislature could see fit to do this through an IMA and separate it from any other projects like it was last month, you know, we could get a project that everybody agrees needs to be done, especially the presiding officer, Norman Gonzalez, who sent out a letter to all the residents of the village of Seacliff saying that this project was of utmost importance economically to the environment and that it needs to be done right away. So I'm providing two different potential solutions. So I thank you for your time, and I hope we can get moving on this. And I'd also like to reserve any other time for the other matter.
Yeah, sure. Once the obvious point is called back up.
Okay.
But we'll ask the administration to follow up on both. I think with respect to an IMA, we still have to follow the money, so that would presumably still be the sticking point.
I don't, well, and I spoke with both sides. I don't think, I think it went to a vote that it would be approved.
Okay. We'll explore that. We're willing to explore any possible solutions.
Thank you.
Again, with respect to the Glen Cove items, you can speak now or wait till the item text is called. Yes, you could always point that. Pasquale Silvestro.
I will with recommendation. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Glenn Howard.
Mr. Chairman, members of the city, legislature, I'm used to speaking in Glen Cove. My name is Glenn Howard, Jr. I reside at 18 Southfield Road in Glen Cove and have since 1971 when my family moved here and I started working at Paul Corporation. I'm retired. I've served on the planning board in Glen Cove for 3 years. I've served as a member of the board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce for 27 years. I stepped down from that, and they desperately needed a treasurer, so I stepped into that position for a few years, and I'm leaving that as soon as this other guy is trained. I'm on the Charter Commission, and I'm also a longtime Rotarian since about 1972, most of that in Glen Cove. This proposition 210-216 is a win-win situation for everyone. There's no such thing as a win-lose. You lose-lose or you win-win. It's a very good recommendation from the city. I followed this project for years, and I am very glad to see it finally moving forward. We finally got to a point where land that is empty and not taxed and valued somewhere by the county between $1.5 and $2 million is doing nothing for anyone. The city, the county, or anyone else, school system. Right now, you have before you a recommendation that reapportions things a little, but it is a fair proposition. It benefits everyone. It basically meets the Rotary four-way test of is it true, fair, will it build goodwill? Yes, it will. Will it be beneficial to all? Absolutely. And I encourage you to work with the city on this so that this project can move forward and put this property back on the tax map, because once it does, the county starts getting paid as well as everybody else, where now nothing happens and you put money into it to maintain it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. James Lau. I don't know if that's correct.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak with you. My name is Jim Leo. I am the portfolio advisor for the Energy Improvement Corporation. It is the local development corp that runs the PACE Energy Financing program in New York State. As of today, there are over 30 other municipalities in New York State that are participating members, and that they are taking advantage of the energy financing programs that we offer. I know that this legislature has looked at this program in some depth up today, and today, hopefully, there will be a vote, a public hearing and a vote on this matter. I just want to say that we at the Energy Improvement Corporation and the other members who are other municipal members look forward to Nassau County joining the EPIC and begin taking advantage of the energy financing programs that we can offer. Thank you.
Thank you. There will be a public hearing on that item following the public comment period. Patrick Keating?
Good afternoon to the Chamber. Thank you for hearing me speak. Topic of discussion for me is something a little shocking called widowmakers. After Hurricane Sandy, there's a topic that's happening on the South Shore of Long Island that I was made aware of after I started going into looking into the situation. In Bolton Harbor, where I reside, I took a walk around 1 square mile of the harbor, and I have statistics here today that if you'd like to see them, I can provide. It shows over 80 trees that are curbside, that are completely dead, that are over 40 feet tall. A widowmaker is a tree that doesn't present itself as a death sentence. It just stands there until it's ready to drop. Now, what happened to me as Legislator Curran encouraged me to come up here and talk, I sent her a picture of a tree that fell in front of me as I was driving down Milburn Avenue. That could have went through my windshield. We're now almost on the cusp of 4 years since Hurricane Sandy. And I've been talking to different legislators, towns, the county, and at every level to find somebody who wants to take accountability for this issue. What I get back is, well, there's a $25 permit from Nassau County that you can fill out, and then, you can cut down a tree as a homeowner because it's curbside. There's a $200 replacement cost to that homeowner. And then the real reason for the permit is so that somebody can come and inspect later to see if the sidewalk has been destroyed so they can charge the homeowner more. Well, in my statistics, I found that in the days of the 60s, sycamore trees were the selected tree. That was the one that everybody put in on the curbside. Sycamore trees are the highest case of death rate on the South Shore. Now, where I first started with just my own little town in Bolton Harbor and my little section of 1 square mile, I was encouraged to expand that gratefully to the entire island. This is a big issue of where in which I am going to provide my professional management services as not only a public accountant and auditor, but very well known in my community, to do whatever it takes to get anybody to take the accountability of this and make this an epidemic proportion issue. Because anybody traveling at any time coming up in this September, as you know, we are now in hurricane season, will become worse and worse. Now, I've talked to people like at Atlantic Nursery who are horticulturists that say that the average rate of death of a tree that is over 6 inches is between 2 and 3 years. We have trees that won't show themselves 100% dead until 5 years from now. This is going to continue to get worse and worse. And if nobody does anything about it, it's going to fall on all of you. So you might want to look around in your own neighborhood and add to this list. If you'd like to talk to me afterwards, or if you'd like a copy, I have only 6 that I brought prepared because I didn't think there was going to be an entire panel. That's all I have to say.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
Are the trees on county roads or town roads or village roads?
That becomes the first question that I hear.
Yeah.
It's all Nassau County. It could be a village, it could be a town, it could be the town of Hempstead, it could be the town of, it's all Nassau County. So what I'm talking about specifically, and my statistics are, what sit between the street curb and the sidewalk.
Right.
Now, that's the only portion I walked around and wrote the addresses down for every house that has at least 1 or 2 trees that are in that segment that are dead.
Right. But you know what it is? It's different levels of government, that who has, whose roads they are on. I live in the city of Long Beach, okay? So I know that even though it's in Nassau County, the city, went through FEMA and, tested all the trees and took down quite a number of them, all right? So what I'm saying is if we can find out where basically, if any of these are on county roads, then we would most assuredly go after DPW. But if we also know on the town roads, if we had the addresses, You know, I know for me, and I know legislator Curran would be the same way, to write if it's a town of Hempstead, like they can send their people out to check the trees. I mean, they should be checked.
I provided the street addresses for just the ones that I know of, and I appreciate that, but I think this also should be expanded beyond what I was just providing. And really, I can't stress it enough to say thank you, but this is bigger than just let's select where. This is the entire Long Island at this point.
Well, we've been removing a lot of trees. That's what I'm saying, like
Yeah, I
down
think
my area.
some townships that I spoke to were kind of like, well, you know, it's up to the homeowner. Oh, no, it's not. It's up to just somebody advise, or at least having the county do one thing for me. Can we put out some kind of a public notice of awareness of some sort to say, hey, look, you might have death awaiting right there in front of you. And I don't think people realize it. So that's where I was at.
Okay, no, thank you very much for bringing this to our attention.
Thanks.
Yeah, if I could just, Deputy Presiding Officer, if I could just chime in also. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I know that you're looking at this in the context of Hurricane Sandy, but it's the same as the case throughout the county. If you have a list of trees that need to be inspected and replaced, my suggestion would be to send a list to us. I know the ones that are in my area, we'll take a look at it. If they're trees that the county has jurisdiction over, if they're responsible for it, we'll send our DPW out to take a look at it. If they're trees the town has jurisdiction over, we'll send it over to the town so that they can take a look at it. But the important thing is that the information is shareable. So I appreciate the fact that you put together that comprehensive list. And if you send it to our offices, I can assure you that they'll be addressed.
Steve, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thanks. I mean, something should be done. That's great reactively, just to add one more tidbit. Reactively, that's great, that once I send something in, I'm entertaining all of you with the fact that you should be proactive. And something else should be done, not just say, let's see who sends us in this information. Please, do something in your communities, because especially on South Shore, Long Island. South Shore is really hit hard, so that's all I have to say.
I can tell you that we have probably written countless letters about, I know in my district, we've written countless letters about trees in our area. We've had DPW out to inspect. You know, the eyes and ears can't be everywhere, so if you have other information,
Sure.
you know, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem, thanks. And don't forget about the abandoned houses too, that's going to be a tough one.
Believe me, we have it.
Okay, it's become clear to me that there's no way we get through this entire stack of public comment in the half hour allotted. So if you can wait for your item, I'd ask you to please do so. If you press for time and you have to leave, then of course you can come up. But Brian DeResta from Garvey's Point, you wait for the item? He left. You left, okay. I'll call him again later. Monty Mandler on the pay side, this is going to be the first public hearing up. Could you wait until we call? It's going to be a few minutes. All right. Okay. J.P. Clejon.
I can wait.
Okay, thank you. Sarah Orwell.
I'll wait.
Thank you. Timothy Norton.
I'll wait.
Patricia Tracy.
I'll wait.
Garvey's Point. Jack McCloy.
Until the item.
He's not speaking on one of the items.
This is general burden. Gentleman quote on number 17. So these people have stayed.
Thank you, members of the legislature, for allowing me to address you today. Jack McCloy from Baldwin. I'll make it quick. You've heard me and passionately ask for your ability to understand what's happening in my community. The Baldwin Grand Avenue Road Diet Project is one that hundreds of our neighbors don't want to occur. Grand Avenue has been reconstructed about 2 years ago. It does not need to be ripped up and reconstructed again. I've heard people address you today and at many other of your sessions since Thanksgiving. Heard Mayor Kennedy mention that there's a project in his area that he could use a couple $1 million for the benefit of his community. I'm saying that the $6 to $7 million that's slated to rip up Grand Avenue, 2 lanes in each direction right now, to reconstruct it to 1 lane in each direction is a dangerous thought It's a wasteful expenditure. There are much better ways to spend this money. I've tried to convince my own legislator that it's not the best way to go. I hope the members of her party will try to convince her that when there are so many more important ways to spend $6 to $7 million, this is not one of them. And I ask the members of the majority of the legislature to consider blocking this expenditure because it's totally wasteful. And I think I mentioned the specifics enough over the last few sessions that I don't need to go over them again. But it's dangerous, it's wasteful, the community members don't want it, and there are so many other needy situations to direct these funds to that it shouldn't be for reconstructing Grand Avenue in Baldwin. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCloy. Legislator Carmen?
Very briefly, first of all, Mr. McCloy, thank you for coming as you do every month. I appreciate that you come, even though, as I said before, I profoundly disagree with you about this project. I think it's a great project for safety and for economic development in our hamlet. But I love that you come, and this is democracy in action. This is what we're here for, so I appreciate that you come. And I know Patrick Keating, another constituent, had to leave. And I see Nita Merriday's here, and I just have to say I'm very proud of my constituents because they come regularly, I think more than others. So, thank you.
I appreciate the kind words, but I'd also appreciate the reconsideration of this in light of the fact that there are really needy ways to spend this money as opposed to aggravating a lot of neighbors that feel that this is not only wasteful spending, but it's actually degrading the existing roadway. But we agree to disagree.
Yes.
Okay. Neil Lewis.
I'll wait for the first hearing on page.
Thank you. Zephy Christopoulos.
I'll wait till the item is called.
Dr. Gordon Berg.
I'll wait.
Amy Marion.
I'll wait.
David Berg.
Thank you for letting me share my opinion with you. I'm a resident of the city of Glen Cove. I'm addressing the issue that's before you today about the application for pilot payments in lieu of taxes by the city of Glen Cove vis-a-vis the Garvey's Point development. I'm against the development. I don't see or understand why Nassau County taxpayers should have to help subsidize the development. It's my understanding that the agreement that was entered into between the developer and the city of Glen Cove specified that the developer was going to sponsor the parks and amenities that these pilots are being applied for, and that was the way this deal was from day one. It's been changed, and it does not seem fair. There is a significant amount of populace in the city of Glen Cove that is aligned with me and my opinion on this very subject, and it doesn't seem like the city of Glen Cove is paying any attention. And in fact, it seems out of its way to push this down our throats, and I stand in protest of it. That's why I'm here. I thank you for entertaining me.
Thank you, Mr. Berg. Tawan Weber. Alicia Pagliaro.
I'll wait.
Amy Peters.
Due to time constraints, I'll take my time now, thank you. I too am a resident of Glen Cove, and I too am against this development in its current form. The project as it is now has changed significantly from what was proposed and approved in 2011. The creative tax financing for this project was not in light at the time of the approval of this plan. I think there's a significant difference in the plan itself as well as the contract for who's responsible for paying for what. So I believe that the city of Glen Cove should not be required to take on more debt. I believe that the county of Nassau should not be required to subsidize this project. And I would urge you to vote no in the allocation of these taxes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Peters. Mita Maraday, I know you have a number of items listed. I don't know if you want to speak now or wait for the item.
Mita Maraday, 758 Wesley Street, Baldwin. As my fellow Baldwin resident stated, I also am in opposition of the road diet in Baldwin for pretty much the reasons noted by Mr. McCoy. And I would love for the legislators to travel down Grand Avenue as they did when some of you took the bus tour, and you might have been on one of the N35s that break down on a regular basis. Maybe you weren't on that particular bus, but that bus subsidy is a whole nother issue. But we have the fire department, we've got the first precinct, and now the design is to put one lane going and coming, and to have a turning lane, and to have a park lane and a bicycle lane on Grand Avenue. I'll leave it at that for that issue. With regard to Garvey's point in Glen Cove, I also, as a taxpayer and a resident of Nassau County, I also stand with the residents of Glen Cove in opposition of this, and I'm really concerned because at the Rules Committee, I'm glad that there are more residents here, and particularly those from Glen Cove who are here, because at the Rules Committee meeting, when the presentation was brought up, there were some key items that were missing from that presentation, i.e. the EPA report, since that property is a brownfield, the level of potential additional contamination, and the fact that there were promises that were made by contract by this developer, and Nassau County continues to seem to get into these deals that become sweethearts for the developers, but disasters for the residents. And let's not get into that long list again. You know, let's not talk red light cameras. Let's not talk about that joke of a subsidy for the nice buses and the other various and sundry. And, you know, my favorite, that consolidation of those police precincts. And thank God for those of us who stood firm, particularly for the first precinct. And I feel for those other communities that now have to deal with that, you know, community policing idea that went bust. So, again, I know I'm probably just blowing in the wind, but since I have the right to do that, guaranteed by my First Amendment, I just wanted to put it on the record and to encourage more residents to stand up and to speak up. And, you know, if you don't feel that your elected official is representing your interests, the best thing for you to do is to, for God's sake, vote them out, because too many of them seem to be getting walked out in handcuffs. I'll talk more later. Thank you.
That's the end of the slips that I have for now. Turn things over to, let's done for a moment, then we'll go into the calendar.
Okay, we don't have to wait until next meeting.